pushy broad from the Bronx, New York. Follow her voice, a straight dog is nice. She's a pushy broad from the Bronx, oh yeah. Don't be surprised if you wanna listen twice. Make decisions, find the right choice. Know yourself better, find your own voice. It's okay if you need help today, cause everybody needs a little push. From the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York.
Good morning and welcome, Transformation Talk Network listeners. My name is Ellen Stewart and I am the pushy broad from the Bronx. Welcome to my show, Recovery Recharged, where we share advice and support from experts in addiction, recovery, and today, what I consider to be an expert in life, law of attraction, and manifestation. I am so delighted to spend the day before Thanksgiving 2025 with a dear friend of mine. I went back to see when we first started working together, and he was a guest on my show after reading his book, the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. And that for me and his show with me was February 24th, 2021. Since that time, and up until and including the end of this year, he will be a guest with me 11 times. So I am very privileged to have him in the studio with me today. He's a friend after all of this time, and dare I say, has changed my life for good. Let me tell you a little bit about Andrew Kapp. He's a three-time best-selling author, most prominently known for writing the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. Remember that title, go to Amazon and pick it up for your favorite person in the world for Christmas. He sold over 150,000 copies across the globe, also bolstered by thousands of five-star Amazon reviews. He made a follow-up book titled Just Feel Good, and now he's going to talk to us, among other things, about a brand new Law of Attraction VIP Academy. I can't wait to tell you more about that. The book continues to grow with more readers every single day. I am a very big fan. The pushy broad from the Bronx is delighted to welcome this morning my dear friend, Andrew Kapp. Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Good morning, Ellen. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe we're going to be 5 years in February here. And I'm just selfishly trying to break a world record for appearances on your show. So thanks for letting me pursue that.
You definitely are a frequent flyer of mine. There is no question of that. And I'm delighted to have you back. And everybody out there, please know that he's with me today live on November 26th. He'll be with me again live on December 10th. And then we'll do a replay of that episode the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve day, December 24th. So you're going to have a lot of Andrew Kapp and the Pushy Broad. I love to have him back at the end of the year because he's always so inspiring to finish up the year with me and also give people a really good boost into the new year together. So I know you've been doing some brand new things. Let's talk a little bit about some brand new manifesting methods that have come to light through your videos and through your streaming stuff. And one of them in particular really attracted me. Tell me about the 3 of Me method.
Yeah, well, thank you for, I guess, paying me the compliment of saying that I add inspiration to the end of the year. The 3 of Me method is really one of those things where on paper, it may seem profound or it may seem just like another method. But when people put themselves through the experience of it, it's oftentimes something that takes things to a new level because it's been designed to help you have a new appreciation for a prior version of yourself, which through that appreciation actually automatically helps you have a profound appreciation for your current self that we most often don't give ourselves the kind of credit we deserve for all the things that we're trying to do to improve our lives.
Okay, so this is very interesting. So you talk about an appreciation for our former selves.
Mhm.
In recovery, one of the things we learn is to focus on today, but of course, we worry about the shame and guilt that we have carried with us in previous enterprises. So to be able to have an appreciation for ourselves in the past is very important to someone in early recovery. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about whether or not there are any restrictions in this method, and then maybe go into the method itself?
Absolutely. And there's one, I guess, important restriction with this one is people on their morning drive, you don't want to, I'm not going to guide you through it because this is one of those don't operate heavy machinery type of deals. Again, because you're really going to be well, closing your eyes in most situations, of course, and really entering a deeper experience of this. So you want to pick a time and place where you have space to do this, and it only takes a few minutes. It's not like you need to devote a half hour, although you might end up wanting to, depending on how you go with this. But 5 minutes is enough. So the one restriction is be responsible, don't operate heavy machinery. With that in mind, the steps, and these are very easy to remember. So it's not like you even have to pull over and write this down. The steps are simple. You're going to want to close your eyes and you're going to want to visualize an earlier version of yourself who may have been struggling with more, who may not have as much as you have now, someone who they just haven't gone to the point of maturity or the point of progress that you are right now, however you judge that level to be. And you want to see yourself like literally putting your hands, one hand or both, on their shoulders and appreciating them for everything that they're going through so that you can be you today. Everything they're suffering through, but also every way in which they are trying to be a better person, trying to reach for a better station in life, trying to enhance who they are and level up. And as you put your hands on their shoulders from a very almost like paternal standpoint, a big brother, big sister type of situation, just have appreciation, literally thank that person. Tell that person what you're going through right now, it's going to be okay. And thanks to you making the efforts that you're making, I get to have a better life today. So thank you. And as you go through that process, to the best of your ability, feel a hand on your shoulder, the hand of your future self, who's thanking you for everything you're doing today for them, so that they can be at an even higher station in life. They can be even further in their recovery. They can be a deeper, higher master of themselves and of the life around them. And it's probably self-explanatory at this point, but the love that you feel and the appreciation you feel for that older self, you could suddenly feel a bit of a transference of that love and appreciation for your current self coming from the future, because now you kind of know what it feels like to appreciate who you are in this moment, which I believe, and in my own past experience, will enable you to take it to an even higher level and have more patience and grace and kindness for yourself as you continue on your path.
This is such a profound manifesting step that I really wanted to call the attention to this particular step, because you have talked about this rather new approach, even though you have, I don't know, hundreds of approaches. But what really struck me about this one is that it can, in many, many ways, be applied to struggling in recovery, struggling in active addiction, struggling by the fact that you never think you're going to get out of it. You never think you're going to get past it. You never think you're going to get to the point where you can be clean and sober, to the point where you're in early recovery. And then you realize that you can do this one day at a time. And no matter what you went through, you are out the other side feeling better. And all of the things you never thought you could do or never thought you could get to, you were actually doing today, which gives you great hope for the future. In recovery, we look towards hope, and this is a very hopeful manifestation step. And I really appreciate every single point of this. I would just add one thing. I wouldn't operate any machinery with my eyes closed. That's number one. And number two, heavy or not. And number two, if you don't necessarily have to have your eyes closed to think about your past reflections, okay?
True.
So think about what's going on. Think about where you were. If you're a client of mine, you know the pushy broad is telling you to come into the present, to see how far you've come, to understand that that's a past reference for how far you will go. And this manifestation step is absolutely perfect for that. So I really appreciate that from in terms of recovery. So thank you so much for sharing that. Anything else you want to add about this?
Well, like you said, you actually made a better point than I could. It's like you can do this in the moment if you're not escaping from what's currently in front of you. I want to invite people to do this at whatever level of depth is comfortable for them, because this might be something where you edge your way in, and it might be something where you dive in, and it all depends on your individual personality. There's no wrong way of doing this, so long as you can feel any appreciation for your past self that will automatically transfer to your present self.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I think this manifestation step helps us from situations that could be despair. When you think that there's no hope, or you'll never get through the day, or you won't be able to stay clean and sober, especially with the holiday tomorrow and the family that's sitting there, and God knows what's coming at you in so many different directions, whether or not you're going to be able to sit and have beautiful conversations without having explosions at the table with everything that's going on in the world. I need you to think about Andrew's manifestation step, how far you've come, how joyful and hopeful it is now, and how much exuberance and enthusiasm you have for the future. So this is a perfect pre-Thanksgiving manifestation. Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you like it.
All right. Now, this really intrigued me. This second part here really, really intrigued me. The math of manifestation. I need you to explain this in a way that will get some of these people who are a little skeptical about manifestations to be converts. So go ahead and tell us what you mean.
Yeah, well, when we talk about manifestation and we talk about law of attraction, there is an airy-fairy quality, for lack of a better term, where some people, it might not click or resonate with them because there's this lack of reality. They haven't seen the result yet. To be told that thoughts and energy change things, some people it clicks and other people it doesn't resonate. So I love when science can kind of back things up and give us a level of practical reality to lean on. And over the years, I've done more research and more reading and more watching than probably most people in this regard. And I've come across all different studies where they would hook electrodes or whatever measurements instruments up to people's minds, and they would measure their thoughts when they're thinking positively versus where they're thinking negatively. And I don't have a definitive final number because these different results went in all these different directions, but all of them indicated that positive thoughts were more powerful than negative ones. And I'm not talking about like one or two times as powerful. Some would say 100 times as powerful. Some would say hundreds of times. Some would say thousands of times. By that rationale, let's be conservative. If it could be anywhere from hundreds to thousands of times, let's just give it a number like 300. Let's say your positive thoughts and emotions are 300 times more powerful, whether you're talking energetically or you're talking psychologically, which impacts your subconscious mind and gets you going in a direction in that regard, or both. By that math, if you were to say, I'm going to think, negatively for 5 minutes, 60 seconds times five, that's like, 300 bad points in your favor, right? If you're thinking negatively. But if each of those thoughts, a positive version of it, is 300 times as powerful, that equates to 5 minutes just doing that. It gives you 90,000 steps in the right direction. So 300 negative steps, if we're talking about this power of 300, again, we're being conservative here, that's like nothing compared to 90,000 good steps or 90,000 seconds of feeling good. So 90,000 seconds is basically 25 hours in the day, which is this, my long gobbledygook way of explaining this is just another long-winded way of saying, if you could just feel good for 5 minutes a day, you would then need to think bad or negatively for 25 hours, of which a day doesn't even hold, in order to catch up with that. 5 minutes alone on this conservative metric gets you more than you could possibly put yourself back in by thinking negatively. That's the math of manifestation.
And that's a very powerful math because it's based on a lot of different things. First of all, it's not only the mathematics that absolutely check out, but it's the science behind it. It's the areas of the brain that light up in a positive way. It's attracting the energy from positive sources rather than negative sources. It's allowing opportunities of positivity to come your way as opposed to living in that cycle of suck that I call it. Okay. I have many clients that sit and shift in that negativity on a continuous basis. They talk to me about the fact that the world is not on their side and everything is terrible today and they can find a silver lining. And you know what happens? Because of that, every single day is the same, just like that.
Hmm.
I truly believe that negative energy attracts negative energy. Now, what you're telling us is that just a small amount of energy towards positive thought triples well, not only triples, but is 300% more effective than negative thought. So,
Yes.
talk about when this came to you, when this happened. How did you feel about this personally?
Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of more of an affirmation because at this point, I'd already made the discovery that 5 minutes a day of feeling good, not over 1 or 2 days, but you go 7 days, you go 14 days, you go 21 days, over a reasonably long timeline, that shifts things. So this to me was the scientific backing that I needed to help me in explaining it to people for those that might not have the patience or the trust to just give themselves 5 minutes a day. And quick PS on my 11 prior appearances, I've probably said this already. Um, the reason that I did 5 minutes a day was because I understood my own human nature, my own psychology. I knew that it's not personally sustainable for me. I don't have the patience to sit for an hour a day and try to feel good. And that's why it's such a relief to me that I don't need to sit for an hour a day or a half hour or even 20 minutes. All I need, which anybody has, no matter how busy they are, is 5 minutes. And that gets me ahead of the curve every single time, especially since I genuinely enjoy it, which keeps me consistent, which builds the momentum, which creates the results, which bolsters the enthusiasm, which then gets me consistent again, which gets me the momentum, which gets me the results, which gets me enthusiasm. And then you're in the cycle of non-suck, so to speak.
Exactly. You know, one of the things that attracted me to your book back in 2021 was the fact that you constantly emphasize that if it's not fun, you're not going to do it. And it doesn't take a long time to do. And that was your biggest attraction. And I think many people stay with you because you still represent kind of a light and airy approach that is really simple. It can be done anywhere. It's 5 minutes of your time. But the most important thing is because it is so easy and simple, it still requires frequency
Hmm.
every single day. You can't decide that in the middle you're going to do this for 2 weeks and then if nothing happens that it didn't work, right?
Right.
Or if something doesn't go your way that it doesn't work and then you stop and then you come back to it 2 or 3 months later. I'm sure you get a lot of comments from readers concerning that. How do you answer them?
Well, there's a lot of ways of looking at that. I mean, so this one's is a bit of a tough pill to swallow, but I really honestly feel this way. You go 2 weeks and nothing quote unquote happens. How do you know that you didn't steer clear of some negative things that would have otherwise happened to you?
Like what?
Um, getting getting a bad job review, getting a relative calling you and screaming like some kind of negative experience that might have otherwise happened. Like, do you look around and you keep score and you say, "Where's my stuff?" without even saying, "Huh, I noticed these past 2 weeks, they haven't been amazing, but they also they haven't been bad." And people don't really go down that direction. But the other thing I tell people is, let's pretend I'm either lying or I'm deluded about this stuff. If I were just 5 minutes a day, taking a break away from whatever stress you're feeling, whatever your troubles are, your worries, your burdens, just giving yourself the break of 5 minutes is in and of itself a win. How is that not a good thing, just to get away from the minutia and the nonsense, to just breathe and be okay for those 5 minutes? Give yourself the opportunity and the permission just to smile, to think on things in your life that you have to be grateful for, which we all do no matter what's going on in our lives. Just doing that without worrying about the how or when of things happening is in and of itself a huge win that I recommend people just give themselves the courtesy and the permission and the kindness and the grace to give a try.
That's another thing that you bring up in your book many, many times in both books. The last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. I'm here with Andrew Kapp, my friend and a wonderful author, and also the book Just Feel Good. They're on Amazon right now. This is the time to buy these books for sure. I also want you to know that we're going to do some great coaching going forward since you have not worked. If you haven't worked with the Pushy Broad yet, please go to pushybroadfromthebronx.com. I am taking on new clients for the year in 2026. Come join me. It will be an adventure, I can assure you. One of the things that I found very helpful in this book was your manifestations that constantly tell us not to look at a specific outcome of things. That's very hard for people to do because they'll turn around and say, I really want this job, or I really want this person to fall in love with me, and blah, 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 and all of that stuff. So talk to us a little bit more in detail of how the best manifestations come to pass without looking at as a specific outcome.
Yeah, well, a really easy to apply scenario that I've been describing for people lately, even regardless of whether you're okay in your job or not, because everyone, this will click. Imagine a scenario where, money's been bad and you're going for a job and it's going to pay, I don't know, $90,000 a year. For most people, that's pretty nice. And you get in and you do the interview and it goes amazing. And you're like, I've got this. Finally, something's turning around for me. And then you leave and you don't get the job. And what you find out later is that the applicant behind you saw how happy you looked, was worried, and they badmouthed you to the potential bosses and they cost you this job. This probably would be infuriating, right? Here you needed this $90,000. You're pulling your hair out. How could this happen? This person doesn't even know you. Why me? Would you be unhappy, even at that horrible person, if you knew right away that a month from now, you would actually be getting a job that pays $200,000 a year with a better commute, a better office, better work culture, more room for advancement, everything better on every metric, only 4 weeks later than that prior month? Would you not almost be grateful in a in a hesitant way for that horrible person who cost you the $90,000 a year opportunity because only a few weeks later, $200,000 and all those other perks are waiting for you? I give this as an example that's probably obvious to everybody by now. It's like when something doesn't go your way, that doesn't necessarily mean you've lost. It might mean that things are lining up for something way better, way more aligned and in your interests than you might realize. Because that job that you want right now, it might be gone in 3 years. Whereas the job you will actually get a couple of weeks from now, or even 1 or 2 months, that might be the thing that holds you down and takes care of you for decades to come, no matter how old you are. That perspective is the one I like to give people.
And I don't blame you. And that has worked for me many, many times. So, believe it or not, we only have about 30 seconds left.
Mm,
I
wow.
want you to, I know we could talk forever and ever. That's why he's coming back on December 10th. He's coming back and we will have him again for sure. Definitely a baker's dozen. We'll see what happens in the beginning of the year. But I want you to give us a personal manifesting technique that you use called the Buddy Blitz method so they can leave with that today and then I can close. So, about 30 seconds, Andrew.
Okay. The fast version of this is what I do every single day. I pull out my phone, I open my memo, and I record for as many minutes as I want of all the things I'm grateful for, and I send it to a friend across the country who does the same thing for me. If you have a friend like this, it's a wonderfully powerful, potent way of doing things. You could just as easily do it yourself without sending to somebody. But I have this where I have a friend who does it back and forth, and it keeps us accountable. And it's such a fun thing. It's such an easy thing. It only takes a few minutes a day. I also have my new Law of Attraction VIP Academy, where if you can't find a friend, you could actually join the academy and you're surrounded by friends. Everybody's in there doing this buddy blitz. So they always have something to look forward to. They always could read other people. That lifts their spirits and inspires them to do it themselves, which builds their momentum.
Andrew Kapp, K-A-P, andrewkapp.com. Go find all of his stuff. Go pick up his books. He's coming back December 10th. The Pushy Broad from the Bronx says, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. This is Ellen Stewart, the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, saying thanks. And remember, everybody needs a little push.
From the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York.